Is left-hander and pimples. Probably the dodgiest, most uncomfortable thing you guys will ever experience. Let me show you how to deal with it. Here's a left-hander with pimples on his backhand called Brindy. He's 1,500 rating central points in Australia, which is about 1,800 to 1,900 in the US ATT point system. And here, let's get into it. Let's get into how I dispatch specifically pimples, but also club level players' tendencies in general. So I've seen Brindy play one match before this, which gave me a lot of insights and info. He gives me a fold to start with, which I'm definitely appreciative of. I'm an anxious starter of a match, which is not a bad thing. It just means that I'm hyper-focused and want to establish a quick lead early on. I always feel a huge boost of confidence doing that. So yeah, a bit anxious at the start, which is not a problem. Keeps me focused, and he hits a forehand past me, to which it's not a fun feeling, but it's also nothing I'm super stressed about. Still early days, 1-all. So I do play an anxious half-long ball, but then I see him spin up softly, and I'm like, yep, thank you, baby. And to hit a ball like that at 1-all, which I'm very happy about. So playing against pimples, it's an interesting concept here. So there I serve with no spin, right? Bit of a secret, I struggle to serve backspin well under pressure. And it's never been my go-to serve because I want people to flick or to push up pretty weak to me. Now, because I put a no-spin serve low, it's hard. I'm not going to serve the opponents off a lot of the time, but I am going to get a receive that I can attack because I combine serve and third ball very well. So I'm ready to get in and put pressure on the opponent straight away. And against the pimples player, that doesn't change. It's just that I've got to deal with the constraint that pimples gives different spin than a no-spin rubber. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Against pimples, especially against short and medium pimples, or long where they stay close, because Brindy does use long. He just stays close. He doesn't go back and chop. You're still trying to do the same thing. You're still trying to, if you're an attacking player, you're still trying to serve short the majority of the time and get in first and put pressure on the opponent. That concept doesn't change. The only thing that does change is that you got to understand when you serve no spin and they receive, it's going to come back in reverse. No spin is more or less like slight topspin. So if they receive a no spin serve, it's going to come back with slight backspin. If you serve a backspin serve heavy to someone's pimples, it's going to come back with heavy topspin. Well, quite the reverse, right? If you serve a topspin kicker serve, well, it's going to come back with slight backspin. I say slight because on a serve, you won't be able to get as much topspin on a serve as you do on an actual forehand topspin. So yeah, knowing those things, it makes it very easy for me to get my next attack and consistently do it. It's also not that simple, right? Because you're probably listening to this video going, yeah, Hemming, that's great, but I still can't deal with pimples, even though I know pimples reverses the spin I give them. So long, short, and medium, they all do that. It's just obviously long pimples does it more extremely, medium more than short, and short still does it, but just not as much as the other two, right? It will reverse what you put, which is why no spin's a great option, because it will just come back with slight backspin, which is actually why backspin is a great serve, because it will come back with kick. As long as you don't, like most club level players, as long as you don't try and hit it excessively early, you'll get an opportunity to actually hit the ball hard a lot of the time. So here I serve topspin, and for some odd reason, I don't know why his serve came up. I just know that it did, so then I just go and hit it, right? So it's still today something for me that's like he played a really good receive there. It was half long and it was low. I didn't expect it. And because I established a 6-1 lead early on, I kind of let go of the pedal a little bit. So that was my cue to get back on track and focus. Sometimes pimples will still do weird things to which I'm like, huh? But as long as I win the point, who cares, right? For the most part, I know what's going on. So he served just a blatant long serve to my forehand, which is like, it's awkward, but and you may not see that it felt awkward for me, but I just gritted my teeth and just really get down, spin it to his forehand and grind it over. Now, at club level, I know what works, and I know what works at club level very well, that pro level wouldn't work. Now, one of those things is getting a heavy spin to someone's forehand. And the reason, and serving short to someone's forehand, that works at any level, because people struggle to defend with their forehand. Club level players don't know how to counterspin consistently at all. So that's something that you can use to your advantage. Just get the first spin on table, no matter what happens. And a lot of the time, your opponents will give you returns. They'll give you serves that have sometimes heavy backspin, sometimes no spin, sometimes top spin. Sometimes it's very long. Sometimes it's half long. Sometimes you got to move and do it, right? So these are the skills that you want to focus on mastering rather than spending your training sessions just doing 2 backhands, 2 forehands. Because you look at the first set, right? How often have I played 2 backhands and 2 forehands? How often has he done it? It's been never, right? So we look at pros do it as a way to warm up their body, get moving a little bit. But what we don't see is professionals spending hours and hours per day doing serve, return, third ball, and all that, right? Because points in table tennis don't last very long. Ask yourself how long the points here have lasted. Typically 1, 2, 3, or 4 shots, right? I'm dominating him from the get-go. Now, I'm obviously being to 2Olympics. I've been more than established enough to know that that is the case. That if I was to train once a week, if I was in you guys' position, I had a job, I had family, or whatever it was, right? And I was obsessed about table tennis, and I could only practice 1 or 2 times a week, I would focus a lot on just, nailing the serve and third ball pattern, and then nailing the receive pattern. Now let's talk about pimples here, right? Because I saw Brindy play. Let's talk just about pimples for the rest of these, because hint, hint, I do kill him 3-0. And Brindy, if you're listening to this, I do apologize. I'm like totally about to expose you here. But yeah, so before the match, I saw Brindy play one match. And the question I asked myself is, what does he return serve like? What are his patterns like? And I realized, okay, he's quite a pusher. He's like most club level players, trying to run around the forehand corner to receive with his backhand, because returning serve with the forehand's hard. Like I get in other videos, I will talk about why this is the case and why this is a hack to serve to someone's forehand short. But he did that, right? So I knew that coming into the game, his receive is quite weak. So serving short to his forehand, if I force him to use his forehand, perfect. If he uses his backhand, also perfect, because I understand pimples so well. It took me 2 years of constantly winning and losing to pimples players, training with them, figuring out why to get that. Now, 2 years may not sound like long to go from no idea about pimples to really nailing it, right? But those 2 years I really did. I sought out those people that I lost to. I asked myself, why did I miss that ball? What am I not understanding about pimples? How do I make that same ball over? That's what you guys got to do. If you want to get this, you got to get the experience. I can give you the theory, but you got to get the experience. You got to play matches against these guys. You got to practice with these guys, figure out pimples. It's a puzzle to be solved, and your subconscious brain has to know it, because when you get into a match, you have to have the automatic reactions that knows what to do with it, right? Because in a match, all you want to be doing is strategizing, how do you beat the guy in front of me? You don't want to be thinking about all these technical things. It's happening too quick in a game for you to be able to do that. So pimples players too, you got to ask yourself these two questions. Are they the pimples player that is better because they got pimples on their racket, or are they the kind of pimples player that they're putting it on their racket because the way they win matches is by trying to be awkward, and secretly, if they put normal rubber on their backhand, they would not be very good at it. That's Brindy here, right? That's very much my strong feeling. If he was to put a normal rubber on his backhand, he'd be quite bad with it. Now, he's earned the right to be in the top grade here. I might be making him look very easy and not very good, but that's because I'm dominating the point and I'm making it look that way because I've mastered the game. But he has earned his right to be an A1. So that says to me that he has definitely been awkward and consistent enough to beat people to get to this grade. So most people, they struggle with him, right? So he's the kind of pimples player that he's not better because he's not putting the pimples on and that's his best game. He's putting it on because he wouldn't be good with normal rubber, and he makes it awkward for you. So I know that, and I just, because I also know how to deal with pimples, and it's, I already, as soon as I see a ball being hit by pimples, I know what's on it, what not to do, what to do. Then I'm able to just in a match just be like, yep, receive with your backhand. It's fine, right? So my tactic here is to serve short to the forehand and mix it with long to the backhand, right? Eventually, if I can get him to force him to receive with a forehand, because if I sometimes serve short long to the backhand, he's got that, Hemming has the guts to serve long to my backhand. I'm also he's going to be a bit slower at reacting to come to the forehand side. And his receive quality will just drop that extra 5%, which is why he's given me so many easy receives here. As well, I realized that club level players, a lot of them actually, yes, baby. A lot of club level players, well, definitely, most humans, they struggle when you get the first spin to their forehand. So I realized all his serves were long. I seen him play before this match. Every serve was long. So that's just my cue. Like, whether he serves no spin, top spin, or back spin, I'm just going to spin that ball on table. And I also know how to do it with my eyes closed, more or less. So that's a skill that in training you guys want to develop, so that in a match, when you see someone's always serving long, you have the guts to put a lot of spin on it and make it on table, regardless of what spin they put on their serve or what length it is, right? So that was my tactic going in. So you'll listen to this. Oh, I love that kicker at the end. Right, I established such a lead that I had the freedom to do that. So I hope this helps. Any questions, leave it in the comments.